Hello everyone, very good afternoon to all the viewers of the legal game. This is Kushagra Goyal, your educator for the CLAT examination. So, one of the big headlines from the past 2 days newspaper is the extradition approval of Julian Assange. Now, that begs the question, ये अपने आप में एक सवाल उठता है कि फिर वो कौन है? And what is this organization that he is part of? Those two aspects become very important for our current affairs. Why is that pertinent for current affairs? Primarily because the entire focus of journalism right now is investigative journalism. इस साल one of the big headlines of the year was the Pegasus scandal. We have talked about it. हमने उसके बारे में sessions भी किए हैं. So that inquires or creates a curious case कि if there is a huge acceptance for the Pegasus scandal, why is someone being extradited for similar kind of events? So what are these events? Why is the Wikileaks founder, who has been the flag bearer of investigative journalism for public information, so much in spotlight? So in today's session of GK Awareness series, we will be talking about what is Wikileaks, what is this organization, what are the big exposes that they have done that have created the headlines, and why is Assange in question in the present matter, and what are the related questions that arise from it. So on that note, the big investigation and inquiry about it will also be taken into. So first of all, the question is, why should I know? The first primary reason for us to inquire about it is the news of confirmation of his extradition. That is the one big news that we need to keep in mind. The second is that if his extradition is confirmed, he could be in jail in United States for up to 175 years. One of the reasons why his extradition is so controversial is because of the long tenure without any proof of such charges. कि ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है? Why is he being put in jail? Those things are not clear. There is no clear-cut evidence of why this is happening. The third reason is that this year the world has accepted investigative journalism as an idea. And उसके ऊपर the US government has banned the NSO group from any transaction in United States. So, and they have conducted a summit for democracy over the past weekend. So, whereas at one place they are supporting press freedom, here they are persecuting this person for exactly the same. अब एक बात ये समझने की है कि US और बाकी कंट्रीज में जैसे कि इंडिया, there is a distinction on who is a journalist and who is a citizen. This distinction becomes very important. Why is that so? Because in India, we have one common right, which is Article 90. इंडिया की बात करें तो हमारे पास एक कॉमन राइट होता है टू स्पीक अंडर आर्टिकल 90. ठीक है, इसके अंदर सिटीजन्स भी आते हैं, जर्नलिस्ट भी आते हैं. देयर इज नो डिस्टिंक्शन दैट इज क्रिएटेड. हाउएवर इन USA, अंडर US कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, देयर इज स्पेसिफिक प्रोटेक्शन टू जर्नलिस्ट. एक जर्नलिस्ट को अलग से प्रोटेक्शन प्रोवाइड करी जाती है. दैट डिस्टिंक्शन देयरफॉर मेक्स इट अ यूनिक सिनेरियो. ऑलराइट, दैट creates a unique scenario in the world. Okay, therefore, Julian Assange and his exposes being identified as non-journalistic activities and rather espionage is something that is a very curious case. Okay, with this, so what all do we need to know about them? So first is Wikileaks. What are these big exposes that Wikileaks has done that we need to know about? Two of these big predicaments that they have announced, both of them tell us about the headings in news, which is Iraq and Afghanistan. इस साल one of the big current affair events is Afghanistan, and इस हिसाब से we need to know a lot more about them, right? इस वजह से those two big exposes become very, very important for us to be kept in mind. Now, what are the findings of the organization that have landed the founder in trouble? They also become equally important. Sirf aur sirf, there has not been just about Afghanistan and Iraq. There have been other big scandals that Wikileaks has unearthed. So therefore, inquiry about them becomes equally important. So with this, we will be diving into the understanding of Wikileaks as explained, part of our general knowledge awareness series, Wikileaks Explained. So what is it? Wikileaks, the first facet is a not-for-profit media organization. So by virtue of the name media organization, it can qualify, or their work can qualify for the purposes of journalistic activities. जैसे कि इस साल का Nobel Peace Prize has been given to 2 journalists for what kind of work? For work that speaks truth to those in power. सच के बारे में. So इस वजह से अगर the world is moving towards recognizing the troubles that journalists are going through, what is WikiLeaks doing? ठीक है, ये इंटर रिलेटेड इवेंट्स को हमें कनेक्ट करना बहुत ज़रूरी है for our current affairs preparation. Okay, so WikiLeaks is a self-described not-for-profit launched in 2006. So founding year 2006. The purpose is disseminating original documents from anonymous sources and leakers. ये official है कि they will release documents that are not in public domain. ये अपने आप में सबसे बड़ी बात है कि द इंफॉर्मेशन दैट इज देयर इज नॉट इन पब्लिक डोमेन. ठीक है, सो दिस इज द फर्स्ट थिंग कि जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन विकीलीक्स विल पुट आउट इज नॉट नोन टू पब्लिक, इट इज नोन ओनली टू गवर्नमेंट बॉडीज. ठीक है, नाउ द नेक्स्ट पार्ट इज WikiLeaks will accept restricted or censored material of political, ethical, diplomatic or historical significance. So the purpose of the website, WikiLeaks as a body, हम सबको Wikipedia के बारे में पता है, but WikiLeaks and Wikipedia are completely different things. दोनों अपने आप में अलग अलग बातें करते हैं. There is no correlation between the two bodies. ये बात ध्यान में रखनी बहुत बहुत ज़रूरी है. ठीक है, so WikiLeaks accepts restricted or censored material, जो मटीरियल वापस से पब्लिक डोमेन में नहीं है. ठीक है, पॉलिटिकल, एथिकल, डिप्लोमेटिक और हिस्टोरिकल सिग्निफिकेंस. सो इट्स अ ओवरऑल जैसे कि बाकी मीडिया ऑर्गेनाइजेशन होते हैं, एंड दे डू नॉट एक्सेप्ट रूमर, ओपिनियन और other kinds of first hand accounts or material that is publicly available elsewhere. जो भी पब्लिक के अंदर ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल है वो इंफॉर्मेशन विकीलीक्स नहीं करता. द नेम ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इज लीक्स. सो देयर बेसिस इज ऑल अबाउट रिवीलिंग इंफॉर्मेशन दैट इज नॉट नोन टू एनीवन. ठीक है, उसके बाद हु इज दिस फाउंडर, किसके बारे में बात हो रही है? दैट इज वन ऑफ द की इंफॉर्मेशन. सो जूलियन असांजे इज एन Australian citizen, okay, who is said to have served editor-in-chief and spokesperson of WikiLeaks since its founding. ठीक है, बट बहुत ज़्यादा लंबा समय नहीं रहा है फॉर जूलियन असांजे. वाई? बिकॉज फ्रॉम 2006 टिल ओनली 2012, ठीक है, 2012 तक ही वॉज इन पब्लिक एंड कुड मूव अराउंड फ्रीली. एज ही स्टार्टेड एक्सपोजिंग मोर एंड मोर, and WikiLeaks only became active in 2010. Their first big reveal happened in 2010 when most of you were probably toddlers, the viewers who are appearing for CLAT this year. So this was the activities of him, they only became known to the world in 2010. And by 2012, he was already in self hiding at the Ecuador embassy. Okay, so Assange has written multiple essays of his political philosophy कि वो किस बारे में बिलीव करते हैं, क्या उनका सोच है. उसका एक की पार्ट ये है कि he calls secrecy based authoritarian conspiracy governments, कि he is in opposition to all this. कि एक अगर कोई लोकतंत्र है, if it is something related to public knowledge or something about public issue, that should not be remaining hidden. It should be revealed to any and everyone. सबके पता होना चाहिए कि क्या हो रहा है. Information like this should not be hidden at any point of time. ठीक है? That is the key part. In which category he includes US government. So one of the key government that he opposes या जिसके विरुद्ध में वो बात करते हैं, it is the US government and any other authoritarian government. But he is not in favor of radical transparency कि सब कुछ पता होना चाहिए. Every country has its own national interest. क्या होती है secret information? सबसे बड़ी बात अब जो सवाल है, what is information in national interest or national security? So a correlation can be drawn to the Rafale case. जैसे कि when the Supreme Court was considering the price of the Rafale aircraft, the components that India has purchased specifically for India, which are not in public domain, वो सिर्फ Dassault Aviation को पता है, that is national information. वो information leak out होने से सामने वाले enemy को हमारी सारी capabilities पता चल जाती है. Now, see, whenever you want to win, there is one big thing that you have to ensure is that you have there is something that the other party does not know about you. Some weapon in your arsenal that the other party does not know. So governments, when they are competing with one another, they also have certain information. That information is something that remains unique to them. So Wikileaks is not in favor of revealing everything, but anything that is for the public or benefit of the public, that should be revealed. ठीक है? The next part is why does he matter? Okay. So the key is at the end of November 10, okay, WikiLeaks revealed some 2,51,287 diplomatic cables. Diplomatic cables क्या होती है? Conversations between diplomats. They have their own secured lines, not usually the ones that we use for our phone calls, but certain diplomatic notes. Diplomats share key information about what they see about someone, what they note about the other. Okay? So it had acquired this information through anonymous sources. Okay? And these documents were revealed as a heading of collateral murder, which were about videos of civilians being killed in the Afghan and Iraq war. इस साल भी when on August 15, US government finally left. उसके बाद भी drone strikes have carried on in Afghanistan. And those drone strikes have usually killed civilians far more. कल हमने AFSPA के बारे में बात करी थी. Yesterday we spoke about AFSPA. One of the key criticism of AFSPA has been that it is a license to kill against ordinary citizens. It presumes that they are responsible for something or the other. That is criticized. इसी वजह से the key part is the killings of innocent citizens in the name of war. That is a war crime. And US government had been trying to cover up these war crimes for a long time. इसको criticize करते हुए the documents were released as collateral murder. Okay, the combined 18,030 are said to originate from one single source of US intelligence analyst Bradley Manning. ये जो information leak करी गई about killing of people was primarily done through a source of Bradley Manning. उनसे they acquired. He was in possession of all this information for such a long time. He was the officer in charge to cover up those officers who knew they were killing citizens and civilians and yet carried out the attacks against them. The bedrock of any democracy is to ensure, or any war, is to ensure and limit civilian casualties. But if you deliberately kill civilians, then you are undertaking a war crime. ठीक है, इसी वजह से this collateral murder expose had become a huge news. Till now, there was a lot of sympathy for the war. That US is actually doing a good thing. Civil terrorists are being killed on a daily basis in Afghanistan and Iraq. So many terrorists have been killed. But these documents reveal that actually majority of the killings were killings of civilians. Okay, so here is the picture of the expose that he had made, and it had featured on the Guardian newspaper with the headline "Massive Leak of Secret Files Expose True Afghan War." This was the key aspect of the exposing, that the leaks were revealing the true nature of Afghan war, that in 9 years of the war, majority kills were of civilians. They were the one who had been most killed. Okay, so with this, I'll take a detour a little, and I want to inform all of you that today, as a part of a free special class on Unacademy app, I am conducting a special class for weekly current affairs revision. Revision forms a key part of our preparation, and a lot of news has now happened throughout the month of December. So we will be doing a weekly current affairs revision today at 7 p.m. on the Learners app of Unacademy. To those who are not yet registered users of Unacademy, you can go to the website or download the app known as the Learners app and register there. With this, you will be asked to look for the class. You can use the code KUSSGK to access this class for totally free of cost. The second thing that you can also do is you can access the class by going through the link in the description box. You can use the direct link, wahan pe you will go, and then you will be prompted to create a profile. So you can do that also, and through this be able to access this free current affairs class. This is a class very, very important for all of you for the days of December, for which current affair news is very, very pertinent. Exact news that can be directly related to your GK section of the CLAT examination. So make sure that today at 7 p.m. you tune in to the Learners app. Okay? Now, if you are watching me for the very first time, I am Kushagra Goyal, a graduate from National Law University, a master's in economics. I've assisted students to achieve AIR 4, AIR 16 in CLAT 2021, plus 100 plus CLAT selections in 2021. And if I am telling you that something is related to GK, it can definitely be true, because I have assisted students to and have a success ratio of 90% of the questions in GK section for the CLAT examination in a series that I conducted. And if you are looking to download the notes related to this class, you can download the notes either through the link in the description. There is a link for notes, or you can click on the link bit.ly/KUSSGK notes. And if you are looking for dedicated preparation for your current affairs and you need guidance or any other doubts that you have, you can then join my Telegram group, that is Kushagra Goyal the Legal Game _Unacat. There I tell the schedule of classes on a daily basis. I inform the students about everything else that they need to know. I resolve their doubts. If they have any inquiries about paper or registration, all of that also I help them with. Okay. Now, What are the basic events that made the world notice of what was happening? So the first big expose, collateral murder ke bare mein when we talked about, was a video. So usually the attacks by USA in Afghanistan were drone strikes. That unmanned vehicles, aerial vehicles are used to kill specific targets. It is in this regard a helicopter attack video was released. A US military helicopter was flying overboard and a video showed killing of civilians in Baghdad in Iraq, the capital city of Iraq in 2010. The news was a voice of transmission urged the pilots to light them all up, and individuals on the street were fired upon from the helicopter. It is clearly visible in the video that there are civilians walking on the road, but someone on the transmission is saying that, asking the pilots to kill those civilians irrespective of it, because we have a target to announce so many terrorists killed. So now that we have not found any terrorists, let's just kill the civilians. After the first firing has happened, then a van arrives to save the people, to take them to hospital and something. The van is also fired upon. Okay. This led to killing of 2 journalists also, who are Reuters photographer Namir Noor Aldin and his assistant Syed Chagma. Okay, both of them are killed in this attack that happens. So I am also sharing the picture. This is from the video that was released. Here are civilians on the road, and this is how the attack was carried out. That there is clear information that these people are not carrying any arms, ammunition, and yet they were fired upon. So this was a clear violation of human rights and a war crime. Okay? Those are the key violations under which. Now, usually when such a thing happens, you have to take the trial, or you have to take actions against such people or such armed forces members. None of this was done by the authorities in the question. They didn't carry out any such inquiry until the expose was carried out. Okay. The next was about further details of the Afghan intelligence. That what was US collecting information, and it was trying to breach into privacy of officials who were posted in the country. So hundreds of documents were released by US intelligence analyst Chelsea Manning. Documents related to the Afghanistan war, how military had killed hundreds of civilians in unreported incidents. And almost 66,000 civilians were killed in Iraq. So a total toll of almost 2 to 3 lakh civilians killed without ever any official document being created that, see, while undertaking this war, we have killed these people. Okay? So this was known as the US Army Intelligence Reveal. Okay? What all was collected through this leak? The first one was the leaks of some 250,000 messages of US diplomats. These documents reveal that information of their biometric and biographic information, such as DNA samples, iris samples, fingerprints of officials of United Nations were also collected. क्या होता है कि during a war, the UN is the body for peace. They are there to ensure that civilian casualties are not taking place. But if you want to ensure that that information does not go out to the world, or if you are doing something fishy which you do not want the world to know, you want to gain leverage over the officials who are trying to expose certain such events. This is what the expose was all about, that this kind of information on UN officials was being collected to ensure that they do not report the civilian casualties. Okay. It is these civilian casualties that have created a huge sympathy for Taliban in Afghanistan. That the civilians were fed up of a foreign government killing people on the ground and they wanted an end to it. This is why Taliban got so much support in Afghanistan to move out the US military. Okay? Then there were also the leaks about the 9/11 attacks. So 9/11 were the terror attacks that had happened at World Trade Center. In that regard, there were messages on the pager. So back then we did not have smartphones. We are talking about 2001. Okay? 9/11 attacks. Now, therefore, what are we looking at? We are looking at pager messages, interceptions, telephone calls. Uske andar there is messages of what was happening, what was the response of the government. It also exposed that at initial information of the attack, when the first crash into World Trade Center had taken place, till then the US Air Force had not even been alerted, and steps about grounding of aircrafts had not taken place. Okay, that the initial response was lackadaisical in response to World Trade Center. This was the findings, and there were certain other messages of the president also. It is these expose that how can you release president messages which are high security. There could be the president giving orders using secret passwords, secret codes. When you leak all this, this is what is national security information. Leak of national security information. It is because of this Wikileaks has come into, or Julian Assange has come into trouble with the US authorities. That see, this kind of information was never supposed to be revealed. How can you reveal it? Okay. Then uske baad the next ones were related to the 2016 elections. Election candidate Hillary Clinton's emails were also released. But these leaks identified that Mrs. Clinton had used personal email for official functions. Whenever you are an officer, you also have an official email. Official email should not be used for personal purposes. You have to keep a distance between your personal and professional life. That's the key part. Now, this revealed personal opinion of Mrs. Clinton on her Democratic counterparts, such as Bernie Sanders, who was running against her in the primaries. It revealed key information and how she was being given tipped for debates. All this had created a lot of negative image for Mrs. Clinton. She had been comfortably leading the election polls till 2016, last 2 weeks. But because of these exposes, the people became skeptical of her and the election was overturned. That Donald Trump won the election by a very, very fine margin in certain states. This is how Wikileaks became at such a storm, that the timing of these leaks was seen in the headlight that it was to favor the Republican Party. Then the next was the Sony Pictures hack. We all talk about how women actresses are paid less than male actors in the same project, even if they share the same amount of screen time, and there is disparity in payment. How do we come to know about it? So one of the big exposes happened in 2015 related to it. What was the expose? Expose of 1,70,000 emails and some 20,000 documents of Sony Pictures, which is the one of the big movie producers of United States. What was the information? First was a cyber attack. So there is a movie known as The Interview, which is about two US journalists who travel to North Korea to interview the Kim Jong-un, who is the dictator in North Korea. Okay, now because the film was coming out, there had been cyber attacks by North Korean officials to hack into the server to ensure that, or to identify what is the content of the film. This had created huge controversy that there is a lot of cyber warfare that is happening by these autocratic countries against democratic governments and their private organizations, that nothing is secure anymore. The next part was emails revealed that actresses Jennifer Lawrence and Amy Adams received lower fee than their male counterparts in American Hustle. This was the reveal about pay disparity. In Hollywood. Okay, this is the one that had led to a lot of criticism of the studio and led to negative ratings of it. Okay, usually payment contracts are kept to be secret. This was revealed to the public, which created a lot of negative information. There were also personal emails of executives of Sony who had made remarks about different other actors, and their criticism was also revealed to the public. Why was this information released? Mr. Assange said that these emails were in public interest because they showed the inner working of MNCs. That not only governments, but these big, large corporations should also be investigated for their actions. This is the key way of functioning, that we cannot attain proper clarity of anything if we do not know how these MNCs function in the first place. All right. Then, so after all this, these were the big reveals. What is the case against him? Why is he being chased after? Why could he be in jail for 175 years? So, Assange is accused of conspiring to hack into military database to acquire sensitive information. अब एक बात यह है कि आपने कुछ बात बताई, बट आपने कितनी बातें नहीं बताई पर आपको पता चल गई. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, Assange hacked into the servers A, B, C. He only released A information to the public. B and C is information he has. So first aspect, things that are not for public domain, how come you hacked into it? That is the first kind of case. The second kind of controversy is that, first of all, when this information is not there, or even if it is, how true it is, there is no veracity of it. You believe or you claim that this is the information, it has not been verified. Okay, so this has led to a lot of criticism of the government. It has geopolitical consequences. So it is to create a chilling effect. Basically, the idea of this case is to create a chilling effect. Okay, that is the key idea behind this. Now, under British law, many nations do not provide our judges with detailed or prima facie evidence that the suspect is guilty. अब ये बात क्या है? This is related to the extradition case. What is extradition? I'll give a definition about it also. But basically, this is a person not of United Kingdom. He is not a UK citizen. He is being tried for crimes in USA. He is in possession of the British police right now. Now, you want to take him to US. That process is known as extradition. Apologies. So, in this regard, the key differentiation is, what will the court look at when extradition request is granted? The court is not required to look at detailed evidences. That will this person actually be guilty or not is not the question. Presumption. अगर मैंने कहा मैं एक सरकार हूँ, US government, I am US government, I am telling you as UK government that see, this is a person who has a overall chance that he has done something wrong in my country. I want to try him for it. The only thing is I have to see ki, all right, if that is the case. I don't have to look at anything else. Is this case true? Is it a false case? Fabricated charges हैं कि नहीं? उस सब से कोई लेना देना नहीं होता है. The judge will not look into any of this. Okay, what this means is that a British judge does not need to be sure that the individual would be convicted at the end of the trial. That is not the kind of information they are looking for. All they want to know is that due process will be followed when the person is tried. Nothing about the case, the facts, the evidence, none of it. So even if US is claiming that he has committed espionage, the UK government or the UK judiciary need not be bothered about it. Okay? The requesting nations are simply required to explain to our court that there is a case that needs answering, that this person has to come to our country and has to be tried for it. Has he committed a wrong? That is beyond question. उस बात का कोई लेना देना नहीं है. So that is because UK has concluded that each of these countries, includes US, has laws and safeguards in place that guarantee independent judges and a fair trial. So why will we allow this, or why will this happen between UK and US? Because UK has a treaty, extradition treaty, with US, which states that US system is fair, there is impartial judiciary there, fair trial milega Julian Assange ko, and he will get chance to prove his innocence. Because he will get that, it is worthy of being sent to US for a trial. That is the idea with which they go ahead. Now, this kind of scenario is in contrast to even India or USA. What UK is doing is something US or even India will not do. Why will they not do? Because US will not send someone to face trial in UK before its judges are sure the evidence is strong. इसी वजह से हमें भी 2611 के convicts, terrorists arrested by USA, have not been extradited to India because US believes कि India के अंदर they may not get a fair trial. Okay, so US, while it wants in people just because they have filed a case against them, they do not want to bother about the same kind of reciprocation. So let's say India says to USA that, see, this is a person who has charges in my country. This is why Nirav Modi's wife and children are in USA. Apparently, because we have no extradition treaty with USA. That until we are able to prove the charges in USA, those person will not be brought here. So a lot of people who want to run away, who take away money, who commit crimes in different countries, go to USA to escape punishment from their home countries. ठीक है, इस वजह से US is criticized a lot. All right. Then the next is, what is extradition? What is the concept of extradition? Extradition is governed by treaties. What is it? हर देश अपने आप में एक समझौता करते हैं about extradition to take someone from one place to another. That specific laws between each country. Those treaties and local laws set out the circumstances and rules of extradition. भारत की भी extradition treaty है. We have specific grounds on which we will give extradition to A or B. Okay, if those conditions are fulfilled, they will be provided the same. Okay, now there are certain countries that follow very, very strict rules for extradition. Then there are certain countries that have very liberal rules. जैसे UK has very liberal rules for extradition for countries with whom they have treaties. Germany, at the other hand, will only allow its extradition of its own citizens to other EU states or इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट. जर्मनी यूरोपियन यूनियन के अलावा कहीं पे भी अपने नागरिकों का एक्सट्रेडिशन नहीं करती है. दे डू नॉट डू इट. ओके, सो सर्टेन कंट्रीज हैव वेरी लिबरल व्यू ऑफ एक्सट्रेडिशन, सम हैव वेरी वेरी स्ट्रिक्ट व्यू ऑफ द सेम. ठीक है, नाउ व्हाई आर वी टॉकिंग अबाउट जूलियन असांजे टुडे इटसेल्फ एंड व्हाई शुड यू कीप अ नोट ऑफ इट? सो आज द हिंदूज एडिटोरियल मेंशंस एंडलेस ऑर्डियल. Okay, this is the editorial that talks about the ordeal of Julian Assange, that from 2012 till 2019, He was in Ecuador embassy. Okay, Ecuador embassy, running away from a fake case of sexual harassment in Sweden. So for almost 7 years, he remained confined to one building to ensure or fighting against a false case of sexual harassment. अब उस सेक्सुअल हरासमेंट केस को ड्रॉप कर दिया गया है, बट 2019 से लेके अभी तक till now he is in jail in UK because while the false case was being pursued, he was supposed to give himself up to the British police. Because he did not do so, he is now in jail. ये बात की कोई, it does not matter that the case for which he was being sought by the police has been dropped. Just because you did not fulfill the law of the land, that you had to come to the police for a false case, he is now in jail. And now the UK government and the UK judiciary has given his extradition request to USA. So he can now be extradited to USA, where he's being tried for charges of revealing to the world the truth of the war in Afghanistan and Iraq. That the human rights excesses that US was doing in these states, they were being exposed. And yet, nothing was being done. Okay, and here he is not being given the protection of a journalist. So there are two things happening. One, he is being made responsible for events that reveal the truth of abuse of human rights of a government that claims itself to be the guardian of human rights, that is USA. Second, he is being not protected by the laws of freedom of speech and expression, something that is the bedrock of democracies of the world. So this is why it is being called an endless ordeal. That this is a young man who wants to reveal truth of governments. And here are governments trying to push him down the road and make his voice silent. So this is the entire controversy of Wikileaks. So organization, 2006 founded, investigative journalism, reveal on expose of authoritarian governments and their actions. It is to reveal all of that. That is first fact. Now, why is Julian Assange? What were the big findings? So one of the big findings, helicopter attack. Then expose about 9/11. Okay. Third, Democratic candidate of 2016, Mrs. Hillary Clinton, abusing her position as official to use and talk about personal events through official emails. Then the last one, big expose on pay disparity in one of the big MNCs and how they abuse and criticize these big stars of Hollywood. Okay, so all these actions is what is the criteria are these big exposes that he has carried out. Post that, now what has happened? His extradition has been approved by UK. Why has it been approved? Because in UK, the court does not check whether the case is true or not. All it sees is whether the country that is making the request for extradition is someone who has an independent judiciary, which is in contrast to the same logic in USA. USA will not extradite anyone if and until the charges that are being claimed have been proven beyond doubt. So all of this, we conclude the session on WikiLeaks. Once again, a reminder for all of you who are watching the video that today at 7 p.m. I am hosting a revision class for the December current affairs, the events that we have missed. So all those days will be covered as part 1. Today we are doing a part 1, which will be a 1.5 hour class to cover all this information. To those who are new learners, who are watching us for the very first time, then you need to download the Unacademy app, that is learners, or you can go to the website of Unacademy. Then you create your account, register there for the first time, and look for the class. All right, or you can look for me, that is Kushagra Goyal, as your educator in the CLAT category. So CLAT is your category in which you will look for the educator Kushagra Goyal. Okay. If you don't want to do any of this, all you have to do is press on the link in the description box about special classes of Kushagra Goyal. That will directly link you to the special class. Now, how can you be notified about the special classes of Unacademy and why are they unique? Special classes of Unacademy are where you can interact with me. You can talk to me, you can ask your questions audio visually. Second, you can participate in polls. Thirdly, now you are watching this class at 1 p.m. All right, this YouTube lecture, but the class that I am going to take is at 7 p.m. Now you want a notification about that. That will happen when you can enroll for this particular class. So you will click on the bell icon and click on enroll for the class. The moment the class begins, you will get a notification that the class is about to begin. Now, nextly, you need the notes of the class. So the notes of the class will also be available the moment the class gets over. All right. And through this, you can watch these classes n number of times. Okay. Through any platform, your mobile phone, your laptop, your tablets. Okay. And n number of times you can go to the specific minute also to resolve your doubt, or if you remember that sir had talked about this or that at particular point of time. So you can do that also. Plus, but if you are looking to participate in national level mock test, you want to test your skills vis-a-vis other students, and you are looking for dedicated batches to prepare for, then all you have to do is subscribe to Unacademy's batches for CLAT examination, where you will get unlimited mock test and sectional test, unlimited quizzes that you can participate at all point of time, plus strategies for the examination. You can take, for those who are for CLAT 2022, a 6-month subscription, or for those who are preparing for CLAT 2023, a 12-month subscription for your examination, which is on December 2022. And if you want a discount on your subscription fees, you can use the same code that you will use to access the special class, that is KUSHGK, for an additional 10% discount. And for students of CLAT 2023, a new batch is beginning for all of you, that is the legal source. And for CLAT 2022, a new batch for all of you that begins on 8th December. You can enroll in these batches. They will cover your entire syllabus for your examination. And along with all this, at Unacademy's Learners app, you can participate in these free tests that are available. One is the Unacademy Law Aptitude Test. It is a half CLAT test. It is 60 minutes, 60 marks. Plus there is weekly T20 test, which covers a quick 20-minute session on your preparation on different segments. So today's test is on Monday. That is on English segment. So make sure that you avail. Test yourself on your English language skills on the test today itself. With that note, we take leave. Thank you so much, all of you. If you are watching me on the legal game for the very first time, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. And if you found the video very informative for your current affairs, please give it a thumbs up. That I really appreciate your love and affection through that. And if you want to be notified for future classes, please press on the bell icon so that you don't miss the updates for tomorrow. Then do remember to download the notes from the Google Drive. The link is in the description box. On that note, thank you so much. See you all in the